Some business show in RVA. On the mic with Mike in RVA.
You don't want to miss Mike and Vin Radio. The king of RVA Business Talk Radio on ESPN 106.1 FM, The Choice 105.3, and worldwide on IBGR.network. Would you join me, please, and welcome the Mike King Vin Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike, the premier business radio program around. I'm your host, Mike King. I appreciate you being here with me. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say I get the best and the brightest from all corners of Richmond, that's what I do. We are the best and the brightest. I got my man Ryan Azia from RVA Fashion Week. Not only is he's a Renaissance man, he's a photographer. You have a book inside you that is waiting to come out. Right. You're just waiting for it to be put out. You are an integral part of RVA Fashion Week. You are kind of like the silent guy behind making things happen.
Yes.
But welcome to the program.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
All right. So let people, like I said, I thought that you had been here forever.
Yes.
And you said you've been in Richmond.
Maybe for a max of 2 years.
2 years. All right. So tell people who you are, what you do, and then we're going to figure out how the heck you go from being a new guy in town to the one who everybody knows.
Well, my name is Ryan Azia.
So it's Ryan Azia.
Yeah.
But you had said that you came up, you're Filipino.
Yep.
And you said how many letters you got about?
42 letters in my name.
Okay, so we're just going to go with Ryan Azia.
Yeah. So you want to know how that name came
Yes,
out?
let's go. Okay.
So back in the day, well, I'm from right outside DC, Alexandria. So I grew up in the DC area. And yeah, back in the day, I used to be a nightclub promoter for Dream. And back then we would have these like little VIP cards. And I promoted predominantly towards the Asian community. So we would get these cards that would say guest of Ryan, and then underneath it said Asia. So when I would hand these cards out to people and they would come to the club, they were like, oh, I'm guest of Ryan Azia. And it just stuck.
So it went from Ryan Azia to Ryan Azia.
Yes, because I didn't want to be pigeonholed to just Asian. So I changed the S to a Z.
That's one way of doing it. All righty. So, all right. So this is a business show. How do you get to be a club promoter?
Well, how I got into it was I would just go. Originally, when I would go, I was just, I just turned 21. I was just going out partying, drinking all the time. But I had a lot of really good looking friends. So I would start going to the clubs with these beautiful women. And then they started giving me comp drinks. And then all of a sudden. So
you were Ray J before Ray J.
I'm Ray J is controversial.
But. That is true. But now if you're in a club and you are getting drinks from the club, and as opposed to buying drinks, which everyone else is doing,
yeah,
that makes you special.
Maybe it was just special to hang out with. I don't know.
Okay.
It is.
So, all right. So you're a guest of the club. Next thing you know, you're a party promoter.
Yeah. So, got to the point where came to guest of the club and they were just like, well, they do that in New York a lot where they pay a lot of those, industry models to come to the events and the clubs to make it look, like
better.
Yes.
Okay.
More aesthetic and pleasing. So, yeah. And then after that, I started going in and then bringing more people in, and then that's just how I got involved. And at that time, Dream was like the biggest. It was probably the largest or the most liquor revenue producing club in the United States. Probably the first real mega club outside of New York, and it was like a phenomenon.
So what did you learn about business being in that world?
Oh man, so hustling for sure. I mean, shall we take it back?
Yeah, let's go. That's what you came here for.
So I think prior to that, how I got into Dream in particular was I had a bunch of friends who worked for the night. They were security members and stuff like that. But what I learned about it was I used to go up to New York a lot. This was after September 11th, and everything was like $1 to get to New York and all that stuff. And before then, I was living in Miami. So I realized in Miami, like people were just coming down there looking, they were like just flossing. They didn't have real money. So they just looked good. So when I came back to DC after September 11th from Miami, I went straight up to New York, got a bunch of fake Rolexes, just those fake stuff.
Balling. So you went down on Canal Street.
Yes,
Okay.
Canal Street. Very
right there. So my wife grew up right 5 minutes from Canal Street. So I know about the fake Rolexes.
Yes.
And the Timbs and the jeans and everything else.
Yes. So I would go up there and get them for really cheap. And back then, Jacob and Company was really the hot thing. So I would go up there and buy all these like really, really gaudy.
Fake Marc Jacob stuff.
No, Jacob and Company.
What's Jacob and Company?
So I don't know if you watch those old Jay-Z videos or those Fabulous, but it was those watches that just
Jacob the jeweler.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I would buy a bunch of those and just bring them down to DC and just sell them. And then kind of that's how it started. So it was a buying and selling retail wholesale type thing. And then from there I now had this extra money, so I was like, let me just go out and start, partying. And then it was basically the same concept. It was just like I guess my product was the fake watches, and then my service was the customer service. So getting into the nightclub business or of promoting, my product was the club, which really wasn't my product. It was, someone else's, but it was the customer service that you got to bring it in. And then going from there, you just keep compiling everything that you learn daily, like whether like this marketing tactic would work, this guerrilla tactic would work, all these marketing strategies to get people into the club. But then now you have to kind of promise or keep a word. So let's say, I'll get you to the club and take care of you, right? Now, let's say you came and I didn't take care of you, right?
Okay.
Now, all of a sudden, my customer service is bad.
So to take care of you, get you hooked up, VIP or?
I do my best to do that at least once or twice, and just, it's kind of like the hustling. We get you in, kind of hype you up so you could come in and spend more money later.
Okay, that's it. All right, so Mike is here with Ryan of RVA Fashion Week fame of DC, Miami, and New York, just putting it all together. We're talking about the hustle game.
Right.
And hustling doesn't matter what the industry is. Everybody has hustle in, the winners in every industry have hustle in them.
Right.
That's the common thread. How do you get to Richmond?
A woman.
It's always a woman.
No, I had an opportunity to come down to Richmond because my girlfriend at the time, she started her own company and it was a franchise. So she was awarded East Richmond and came down here. I had given up my corporate accounting job at that time because I was kind of going through some health issues. I was losing my sight and everything. And I just gave it all up and said, I'm just going to pursue what I wanted to do, which was art, because I didn't know how much longer my eyesight was going to come.
So, and Jimmy had wanted me to ask you, so what with art and picking up a camera, let's hear that story.
So how I got involved with RVA Fashion Week was I used to be a designer for men, women, and I would also design jewelry. So when I would do that, one of my really close friends, he's an actual photographer. So I would design the sets, be the creative director, and he would do the pictures. So when I came down to Richmond, I didn't have that person to shoot those pictures anymore. So I picked up a camera, something I picked up off of Facebook Marketplace for like $300. And I just started taking my own pictures. But the reason, it was an easy transition was because I already had the experience of setting up what I wanted to set up. And then having an art background, like I already knew what I wanted the shot to look like even before I took it.
So you already had that. Were you always the creative one as a kid and growing up?
I think so, yeah. My whole family is pretty creative.
Yeah,
so.
Okay. So what was your creative thing that you gravitated towards?
Usually art, like painting, sculpture, things like that. One thing that I loved growing up was making things like fly. So I would make kites, paper airplanes like that, and just see how long they could stay in the air for some odd reason. And then so you know, I think that type of work where you're folding paper and creating something that's flat into a three-dimensional product was easy to transition into designing clothes as well as jewelry.
So the clothes that you design, what type of, so my mother and my father both were seamstress. Well, the man is a seamstress.
Yeah.
My dad was a tailor,
Right.
and along with my mom. And I never picked that up enough of that to make it happen. What were the kind of things that you designed?
I would design like a lot of dresses, a lot of streetwear, things like that. And then my aunt, she was a seamstress. So I would create these designs. She'd probably make them for me if she was in a good mood or not.
Exactly.
And but mostly like dresses. They were more like avant-garde. They were kind of really edgy.
Pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
Being creative.
Yeah.
Okay, so how you're in Richmond, how do you get involved with Jimmy and Fashion Week?
So when I came to Richmond, I just approached Jimmy and said, hey, I need, it's like, I'm here. Let me help build your brand, do something. So he put me on as kind of like a brand strategist. And at that time, he was changing the business platform his programming platform for it, because prior to that, he was producing all the shows. But if you go to like New York Fashion Week, there's a lot of little shows that they don't produce. They just write off the New York Fashion Week name.
So it used to be Jimmy was handling everything.
Everything, yeah.
Now it turns into there's a thing over at the Common House. There's a thing over here. There's a thing over there.
Yeah.
So some of those are part Jimmy and Fashion. Other those are part of somebody else using the name.
Or being, just promoting the community with fashion and everything. And so from there, we just kind of built it up from, a solely produced show, which, is a huge financial burden.
Yes, it is.
You can make it or break it. And then from this little model, which little shows and gets more people involved, which it was probably one of the best things to decide to do. And then from there, started to build up the team again and everything, started figuring out better ways to do things. And then COVID hit. So now we had to be more creative in how we did things. And also with COVID, we became more efficient. The team became stronger. So now here we are.
There you go. On the mic with Mike, ESPN Richmond. Ryan Azia is here with us from RVA Fashion Week. As I said, he is a Renaissance man. So you have a book in you as well, but the book is bottled up inside. What would the book be, and what's it going to take for it to come out?
Well, I do have one that's been probably pending for a long time. The title is called The Velvet Rope Politics, and really it's just about my adventures in the clubs.
How do you get beyond the velvet rope? Then that's because that is an age-old question. How does a guy get inside? And this is my problem with nightclubs, and since my mother and father came from the nightclub business, the whole idea of you hear the music blaring and it's on and popping, and you go and you pay your money and there are two people inside.
Right.
That it's not bait and switch, but that kind of hurts.
It very hurts.
So when you're out there, that person. So how do I get from standing in line to getting inside the hot club? Do I need to know somebody?
Honestly, in my opinion, yes. It's not what you know, it's who you know. It's not what you wear, it's how you wear it. And it's not where you're at, it's who you're with. So for me, Velvet Rope Politics really, you talk about getting into the club and stuff, but really the underlying thing about it was one of the biggest things that I noticed when I was in Miami at these clubs is a lot of investors would come in, and then the person who's asking for the money from the investors would take them out, you'd have your business meeting and then you'd take them to the club. Almost to me, it felt like the club was the final thing to secure the deal. How can I, get you, they get drunk and then they have a good time and then just okay, I invest in you. This is going to be a great working business relationship. And then I've also come to realize that if you're in a club with that many distractions, you see a lot of loud noises, a lot of liquor, extracurricular things going on, beautiful people, and you're focused solely on business, then that's a real business dealing.
but that's not most people.
That's not most
That's
people.
not most. I always say liquor, people, and money
Mhm.
is a bad combination.
But getting into the club, it's really not that hard. I think you, like with most things, you pay your dues in the beginning. And then if you find a place that you really like and you become a consistent patron, like the club will recognize as customers. And they do keep tabs. It's just like going to a casino, you know, there's a pit boss watching how much you spend.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So that gets you from the back. You weren't even standing in line. You just go because you know the guy at the door. Hey, what's up? Come on, Mike. Come on up.
And then also, I think lately, it's just how you approach people. Usually, if you go with a group of people, I'll go up by myself or maybe like 2 or 3 people, mostly females, because they always
That tends to let you in.
Mm-hmm. They'll let you in, but also it's how you speak to the doorman. And you'll know who you need to talk to when you go up there. It's never talk to the big security guy.
The big burly dude.
Yeah,
Don't talk to him.
Always talk to the sharper dressed guy who looks like he doesn't want to be there.
Because he doesn't.
Yes, and he's probably a partner, manager, or something.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when you talk to that person, you know, you speak to them with a lot of respect, and you just let them know this is your first time here. They want you to have a good time, so they'll probably give you a little leeway to get in. But you know.
All right, on the mic with Mike. Ryan is here with us. Let's talk about the social club business scene here in Richmond. What's it like for a person who's out in that part of the world? You see things different than a lot of people like me. I'm seeing the early part of the night. You're seeing the social side from a business standpoint too, as you saw it tied to Fashion Week. What's it like out there now?
Richmond is really interesting. There's a lot of rooftop clubs that are opening up, and I will say that Richmond has a beautiful skyline. That is one thing. Like a rooftop in DC to me is ridiculous. What are you gonna look at? You're just gonna look at an HVAC unit
of another building.
Yeah, you might look at the monument, you might look at the Capitol. Whoop-de-doo, you know. It's really lame to have a rooftop in DC, but fresh air is a good thing because of the whole, you know, whatever. But Richmond has a actually interesting scene. It's very diverse. Like, I feel like you can do anything you want. You want punk music, you want rock, you want hip hop, whatever. There's something for you. And then, but the one thing is that no place is ever too packed. I've never been to a place in Richmond that has been too packed, and I appreciate that.
do you think so? So the place is not too packed in Richmond, rooftop bars, you're out 12 o'clock at night. But so now you had said Miami. We're gonna give you this for the love going on.
Mike King says.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough.
So
Every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there.
when I think of Miami and I think of branding, I think of Khaled.
I remember listening to Khaled on the radio.
And you know, it's funny for people to say that. And you know, when you look at how to build a brand, and so you are a brand, like you said, you can't be at everything, and that dilutes the brand.
Right.
You got to be strategic. Right. Talk to our listeners about building a brand, like you said. You're in Miami, you know Khaled from that. Yeah. Now you see him on everything. What's the latest thing that he's? Pandora. Right. I see him on there plugging Pandora. When you look at branding from a branding standpoint, Khaled is good.
He's very good. And I think he's very good because so when I started photography, it was actually pretty interesting because I had a very good conversation with someone because every photographer is looking for their style, right? When I got into it, I was so far behind amongst everyone else. So I said, when someone asked me what your style was, I said, speed. Just do as many and crank it out as fast as possible. But building a brand, I feel, is speed. It's very important to get it out there and do it fast and have consistency. And Khaled was consistent with his sayings, his actions, everything he was doing, he was consistently consistent to the point of being annoying.
We the best.
Yes. So even if you are annoying, this is a world where you don't have to like watch somebody, it's just like you can put mute on Instagram if someone's posting too much, for example, but they just need to understand that, hey, Instagram is a business. So I'm doing this to brand myself. And most people, if you vibe with them, they understand that. Or they become your friend, your fans. But as far as building a brand, consistency and speed to me, as well as like not making a decision and focusing laser sharp on it. Like don't veer away from it. Don't try to do extra things in a way.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
What are some of the brands, regardless of what they do around Richmond, that catch your attention?
Some of the brands that catch my attention, that's a good one. A lot of like Chilele is one because they're very consistent.
It's funny. I see those guys sitting outside as I'm going to. You never know the magic that's going in there because I'm always there too early.
Yeah.
So we're there. I see them because I park across from them. They're going to comment us. There's a couple guys sitting outside, just chilling, not having a big, I don't know what they do. I see some stuff in there. I went in a couple of times, say, my name's Mike, I got a show. Hey, never heard from them.
Yeah.
We're coming up the street one night, I don't know, 10 o'clock or 10:30.
Yeah.
It is a madhouse outside there. They got the food truck sitting there too. And everybody's there.
Yeah.
Well, we're out there with the old folks' time. And clearly all of the action is there at that time of night.
Yeah. And then also, I think another one, as I'm just going to say, 707 has been amazing in building their brand.
For sure.
707 is another one. Heather Marie, you know her.
Shout out to Heather Marie Speaks. Her brand is fire.
She's another one.
Andrew Hypes.
Andrew Hypes is another one.
So what's the lady's name? The Curator's Vault?
Yeah.
I think she's the one who does the social media.
Yeah, she does something for them, not too sure.
And I remember I met her a week or so ago. There's some strong brands around town.
Yeah.
So when you're building yours, so there's the fashion, there's the photography. What else are you doing? Because you are a Renaissance man.
I do a lot of artwork. So I was really blessed to have an opportunity to create the official artwork for Richmond International Film Festival.
Oh, you did that one.
And that was really an honor because like that was plastered everywhere in the city.
I know.
And
I was there the night that it with Heather at the Bird Theater.
Yeah, Heather
and that
Waters. There's another person who's branded her company very well.
I know. I didn't know that one that well because then I met her through Craig Martin from the Good Road.
Right.
So that's what we're doing.
With Craig Martin, he's branded himself with his red sneakers.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm like, hey, we met at Urban Hang Suite. Hey, all right, so Mike, meet me there. Because you'll know me, I'm the guy with the red sneakers.
Yeah. See?
And that's who Craig Martin is.
Yeah.
He's also, it's funny, he's a white guy's named Roland Martin too.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny.
True.
Yeah, because we have a good friend, his name is Martin Short, who works for SBA, and he just so happens that he's a black guy.
So not the comedian.
He's not the comedian. So Martin Short, SBA, Craig Roland Martin of the Good Road. Alrighty, Ryan, how can people find you out there and support what you're doing?
You can find me on Instagram at Ryan, RyanAzia. You could reach out to me through RVA Fashion Week, any of the websites, rvafw.com, ryanasia.com. And I'm usually around. I'm actually pretty easy to find.
You are around. I saw you last week at the Christmas tree judging. You were reluctant.
Yes.
You were.
I stay quiet.
Hey, keeping that's right. You know what? When you walk in, this is what people are saying.
The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here.
Mike King is ESPN Richmond, the champ of Business Talk Radio.
So really quickly, you had said you also are in the process of wanting to start some nonprofit. Let's touch on that because that's a subject near and dear to us on the program.
Yeah, so there's two that I'm trying to get up and running. One obviously is in regards to, fashion and just art and style in general for the state of Virginia. I don't know, maybe get the Virginia Tourism Council involved.
There we go.
Virginia's for fashion lovers. Been trying to holler at y'all for a bit, but I feel like that's an important thing because VCU is one of the top public art design schools, and so and then you have Northern Virginia, which is probably the largest retailer outside of New York on the East Coast. So it only makes sense that fashion and business and education, or education, commerce, can fall under the fashion, retail spectrum. So, I'm still working on that and involving myself with some people who can help out with that and guide me towards where I need to go and figure out the best path on how to make it successful and continue going it. So it's not one of those things that's we make it and then it dies down. And then the other one that I'm trying to do is actually involves photography, because photography was not my first passion, but it's opened so many doors for me. I did notice when we were at the Christmas tree event, there was a lot of nonprofits there, and a lot of those nonprofits spoke about giving people second chances.
Yes.
Like one boots to suits,
right.
Was giving people who are soldiers into the workforce. So these people, basically what I'm trying to do is, do something like give headshots out to these people so they could update their resume, their LinkedIn, their social media, just give them a more professional outlet for them to succeed in the workplace going forward, and kind of set a standard for them, because, I believe in second chances too. So I've been blessed. So why not try to create a little nonprofit that does this for them? And that way it's one of those, it's not competition with any other nonprofit. It actually can work well with everyone. So those are two.
That's it. And how can people find you one last time?
You can find me on Instagram at Ryan Azia, RyanAzia, website, ryanasia.com. You can find me in RVA Fashion Week, rvafw.com, Facebook. Yeah,
just Google me.
Just Google.
Just Google them. That's right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Ryan is always out here doing some really big things. Make sure you check out his work, and as well as all the great things he's doing. So shout out to Jimmy Budd and all the great folks over at Fashion Week. You guys are doing some outstanding work. Thanks, man. Take care now.
I appreciate it.
RVA's Best Business Radio program on the mic, and Mike
By the way,
here on ESPN.
welcome to the
Richmond,
Teardown was always
5 to 7
my hype song.
06.1.
That's what we do here. It's always I had to get